we first started making kendamas, it was the same story for pretty much everyone. You went to China and bought some form of pre-made kendama shape and some tamas. The good companies were taking the initiative to paint their own. Well, that's what we did when we started at BLK, a couple of years ago, is we went and bought what we thought was the best ken and started learning how to paint, really quality paint that would not only be beautiful but durable. And so when we set out to kind of figure out what was next, we wanted something that was special, something unique, something that had its own design that wasn't just the same thing everyone else was selling. We started designing the Tuned really from the ground up in SolidWorks, which is a CAD-like program. We really got a chance to do what we wanted to do with it, to really focus in on some of the design aspects that we thought were important for kendama. Having a kendama that plays well for the modern style of tricks is really important. So that's kind of what we set our mind on when we went to go design the Tuned. Designing a kendama is a process, right? So you start off in SolidWorks and you see this beautiful thing that's all lines and angles and measurements. You're excited about what it can become. We're fortunate enough to have kendamas 3D printed. We've got these 3D printed models that we used to make sure that the dimensions were right, make sure that the hole and the cups fit the right way together and the slip ring was the right size and the balance was good from a weight distribution standpoint. And we made changes to it and then printed it again and printed it again. It's a good thing that we did because we had it really wrong in the beginning. Even with the models, we didn't get it perfect. Just really the evolution of kendama play that we took into account. The Tuned is really optimized for juggles and whirlwinds and for anything where you're flipping the ken, because what we did is really focused on removing some of the weight inside of the cups. And what that does is, by making the cups deeper and by removing some of the weight, it reduces the rotating mass of the kendama and allows it to spin quicker. So this ken's a lot lighter than what you might be used to playing with. Most of them are sitting in the 60 gram range. And of course that's with beechwood. But that allows you to really be able to hit those, triple whirlwinds or a round triple whirlwind a little bit easier, just because you don't have to put as much energy into making the ken spin, so you can spin it faster with the same amount of force. If you think about kendama players today, yeah, they do lunars, but they're also hitting these flip tricks that are just amazing. You've got whirlwinds that are being done in singles and doubles and triples and ken flips and lunar flips and all kinds of juggle tricks that are just really amazing. So we took into account kind of the modern style of play and really focused in on making a dama that was designed to play for those types of players that are pushing the envelope. Some of the other things we did is we optimized the hole and the rings around the cups to really fit perfectly, so you can do handle stalls and ring stalls and birds on this ken. It's really designed specifically for that. Something I really liked is the match of the hole on the tama and the ken itself. And so being able to do a handle stall and have it perfectly rest on multiple points is really what we designed it for. So you can pull up an eagle or a handle stall and you can pull up a ring stall, and it'll actually, on the ring, it hits in 4 points. It hits on both ends of the ring, and it also hits on both ends of the ken. So you have 4 contact points, which is huge. And of course, lunars are important, right? So, we did a balance hole on the bottom and took off some extra weight there, so you still get really super flat lunars, and you can stomp those and have a really nice wide catch area for your lunar. When we went to actual production, we got our first batch back and we were super excited until we opened it up and realized they had made some mistakes. Had the string holes drilled in the wrong places. And so we had spec'd them up pretty high, offset slightly to the left, and they ended up putting them dead center, very, very low, right in the middle of the thing. And so we started playing around with string hole positioning, and we kept going higher and higher until we got to the very top and basically created a groove that was in the serrato. You got a benefit of being able to pull up, like a lighthouse really, really straight without it compromising really the way that it felt. You didn't have to change your style of play in order to use it because it was still coming out of the side, but it allowed you to do those pull-up tricks just a little bit easier, and the way that it played, really felt good. We ended up calling it the groove, and that's now where our string hole comes out along the top there. Other things that we did with design, we looked at the Ken tips. A lot of Kens today have these really sharp tips. I think that kind of come a lot from the Japanese companies, and so that just kind of became the norm. But if you think about a sharp tip, it does nothing but damage to your Tama. It's just difficult to play with. So we actually rounded ours just a little bit. It's still pointy. It gives you the ability to really land a border balance almost out the box. So if you have the right paint on a tuned, that rounded tip will actually allow you to just sit there and border on your very first trick if you're that kind of shredder. Tuned paint. A little bit of background on tuned. Back when I was younger, I was into the import car scene and street racing and drag racing and all kinds of racing. And I've kept in touch with car culture. Obviously it's grown beyond the little rice rockets that I grew up with. And today, if you look at a lot of the exotic hypercars and sports cars out there, a lot of them are doing these flat paint jobs that are just stunning. They're shiny, but they're flat. With the tuned paint, we wanted to kind of keep the idea of the name tuned. Tuned to me harkens back to what we used to do to our cars and what people still do to their cars. They tune them for optimal performance, and that's really what the tuned is about. It's about tuning a kendama for optimal performance, and so the paint is the same. It matches that style of paint jobs that are out there on those cars today. And so it's flat, but it's satiny, so it has a little bit of sheen to it. It's designed really to give you the right amount of grip and slip. I know that's a term that a lot of people hear and a lot of people use. When you're playing kendama, when you're first starting out, you want something super sticky, but as you get more advanced into your intermediate and advanced levels, you really don't want something that's just ridiculously sticky because it makes some tricks harder to do. So we really wanted to take it down a notch from some of the stuff that's out there. And so that's really where we were shooting, is to have something that has enough grip to freeze it. You don't have to keep adjusting a lighthouse, but at the same time, it's not something that's gonna, when you do a one-turn pull-up lighthouse, stick and then kind of flop the Ken right off the Tama. So we started a company called Dama Mods. And Dama Mods is really dedicated to bringing accessories to the kendama world. And these accessories are going to be everything from really high quality string to things like the spinner. That's what we have inside here, and it's a mechanical bearing that has multiple moving parts inside of it, and it allows for the knot on the bead to actually spin freely inside. So we do a lot to our tamas when we build a tuned and we string it up for you. We make sure that hole is large enough and it's clear of debris or any sort of burrs that can snag on the string, and we definitely tie a really perfect knot that has a nice angled end so it fits perfectly inside the spinner and allows it to just keep going. So that gets rid of that twisted string problem. BLK, when we first started, we had all of our kendamas, and they still do, come in these muslin cotton bags. We wanted to keep the earthy, connected with nature feel to it also, and so we decided to use wood in our boxes. This box right here is made out of basswood. It has a sliding lid up top that reveals the kendama when you open it up. And then we were able to wood burn our logo into the lid here. So it really gives a nice presentation to the kendama, obviously protects it nicely while it's shipping, lets it the person that's opening it really have a nice experience with the kendama at the beginning. I think that's important. I think everyone who's ever opened a kendama finds that unboxing moment really, really special. You get it in the mail, and then you get the kendama and you're holding it in your hands the first time, and a lot of times you're looking through a plastic window and you kind of see what you're going to get. Opening it's still satisfying, but the great reveal of kind of sliding that lid down for the first time and seeing what it is that you have will just kind of add to that experience of getting your first tuned. When we set out to make the tuned, we really wanted to make something that was special and it was attainable, something that wouldn't be, one of those kendamas that sold out in 2 seconds, but at the same time not something that, is just run-of-the-mill that you could go and pick up, really easily. I wanted it to make it feel exclusive and something that really felt special when you had it in your hands. So, we did a lot with the kendama itself and with the packaging and create something that when you see it and when you touch it, you know that you've got something really cool and something that you're going to really enjoy owning and playing.